My name is Savannah Reed. I'm 33 years old, and 3 months ago, my mother stood in the middle of my little sister's engagement party, lifted her champagne glass, and announced to 40 people that I was finally useful to the family. Everybody laughed. I laughed, too. That's the sick part. When you spend your whole life being the one who fixes everything, people stop seeing you as a daughter, a sister, a person. You become customer service with a heartbeat. And I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until my 8-year-old son asked me a question that made my entire chest go cold. "Mom, if Grandma likes Aunt Lily more, does that mean I gotta work harder so she likes me too?" That sentence changed everything. Because kids don't ask questions like that unless they've already been carrying the answer around in silence. And what happened after that question? Man, that family never recovered from it. If you've ever been the responsible one in your family, the one everybody calls when rent's late, emotions are messy, or life falls apart, stay with me. Because this story starts quiet, but it ends with 43 missed calls, a canceled wedding venue, and my mother crying in a hotel lobby while strangers stared. And the wildest part? I never yelled once. The night everything cracked open smelled like expensive candles and burnt steak. My sister Lily's engagement party was at this rooftop restaurant downtown Nashville. Fake ivy on the walls, Edison bulbs everywhere. Everybody dressed like they were auditioning for a rich people reality show. I paid for half of it. Nobody there knew that. Or maybe they did and just stopped caring. My mother was floating around the room in this cream-colored dress, acting like she personally invented love. "Oh my gosh, look at my baby," she kept saying every 5 minutes while Lily showed off her ring. A massive diamond. Guess who helped pay for that, too? Not directly, but 2 months earlier, my mother called crying because Lily and her fiancé were struggling. Translation, my mother wanted money without asking for money. Again. So I transferred $6,000 into her account before breakfast. That's what I always did. Fix things fast, quietly, no drama. That's the role they gave me. And I wore it so long it started feeling like skin. My son Noah sat beside me eating fries and drawing superheroes on a napkin while Lily opened gifts. Nobody talked to him much. That wasn't new. My family always treated Noah like an afterthought because his father wasn't around. They never said it directly. Families like mine don't say ugly things directly. They say them through patterns, through omissions, through little cuts repeated so many times you start bleeding without noticing. My mother suddenly clinked her champagne glass. "Oh, before dessert," she said, smiling, "I want to thank Savannah." Everybody looked at me. I smiled automatically. Dangerous habit. "She's always been such a lifesaver for this family. Honestly, I don't know what we'd do without her wallet." The room laughed. Wallet. Not heart. Not daughter. Wallet. Lily laughed hardest. Then she added, "Seriously though, Sav's basically our family sponsor at this point." More laughter. And there it was. That familiar feeling. Like somebody quietly removing your chair while you're still sitting in it. I looked down at Noah. He wasn't drawing anymore. He was watching them. Watching everybody laugh at his mother. Kids notice humiliation faster than adults do. "Mom," he whispered. "Yeah, baby? Why are they talking about your money like that?" I swallowed. Hard. "Oh, they're joking." But Noah kept staring at them, And then came the sentence, the one that changed everything. If they only like you when you pay, do they even love you? 8 years old. 8. And somehow my child saw the truth clearer than I had in 33 years. I couldn't taste the food after that, couldn't hear half the conversations. It was like Noah's question cracked a window open in my brain, and suddenly all this cold air started rushing through. I began noticing things. The way my mother hugged Lily 3 times that night and never touched me once. The way the waiter handed me every bill automatically. The way my family spoke about my success like it belonged to them. I own 3 urgent care clinics across Tennessee. I built them from nothing. At 24, I was sleeping in a studio apartment eating ramen while studying for nursing exams with a baby monitor beside me. Noah had colic. I used to rock him with one foot while typing patient charts at 2 a.m. His father disappeared before Noah turned 1. My mother called me stupid for having him, then later bragged to church friends about how strong her daughter is. That's my mother's favorite trick. She wounds you privately and wears your survival publicly like it's her achievement. By midnight, the engagement party ended. I hugged Lily goodbye. She barely looked up from her gifts. My mother kissed my cheek and whispered, "Don't forget we still gotta finalize the wedding deposits next month." Not thank you, not love you, just another invoice disguised as family. On the drive home, Noah sat quiet in the back seat. Too quiet. "You okay, buddy?" He stared out the window. "Grandma likes Aunt Lily more." It wasn't a question. "No, she doesn't." "Yes, she does." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "She just shows it differently." That's what abused daughters say when they become mothers before healing. Noah looked at me through the rear view. "Then why do you always look sad around her?" I had no answer. None. And when your kid starts asking questions your inner child still can't survive answering, something inside you starts breaking loose. That night, after Noah fell asleep, I opened my laptop. Not for work, for numbers. I wish I could say I was emotional. I wasn't. I was calm. That's always when I'm most dangerous. I started adding things up. Lily's engagement party, my mother's credit card debt I secretly paid off last year, my stepmother's dental implants, Lily's car down payment, the family Disney trip I surprised everyone with, even though I spent 6 months financially recovering from it. Birthday dinners, emergency loans, school tuition for my cousin, bail money for my uncle. Every single crisis somehow landed in my lap because I was the successful one. By 3 a.m., the total sat glowing at the bottom of the spreadsheet. $417,000. $417,000. I stared at it so long my vision blurred, not because of the amount, because of what it represented. I had spent nearly $500,000 trying to earn softness from people who had already decided access to me was enough. And the worst part, they still called me selfish anytime I said no. That's when I finally understood the trap. In dysfunctional families, the responsible child never gets rewarded. They get milked. The next morning, my mother called before 8 a.m. "Morning, sweetheart. Quick thing. Lily found this gorgeous wedding venue, but we gotta move fast because dates are filling up." Of course, always urgent, always emotional, always money attached. How much? "Only $12,000 deposit." Only. I closed my eyes. "Mom, I'm not sure I can do that." Silence. Then instantly her voice changed temperature. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I've done a lot already." A pause. A dangerous one. Then came the guilt. Well, I guess family only matters when it's convenient now. There it was. Not disappointment, manipulation. My mother weaponized sacrifice like other people use punctuation. You know Lily's been dreaming about this since she was little. And suddenly something snapped into focus. Not anger, clarity. Because I realized something terrifying. My family talked about my money more tenderly than they talked about me. I can't do it, I said quietly. Her silence stretched. Then she laughed. Not happy laughter, mean laughter. Wow, she said, money really changed you. No, money revealed them. But I didn't say that. Instead, I said something even worse. I think we need boundaries. That word hit my mother like gasoline. Boundaries? She repeated sharply. After everything I've done for you? Everything she'd done for me. Funny. Parents like mine always count what they gave you as children forever, but anything you give them as adults becomes obligation instantly. You're being dramatic, she snapped. Maybe. Or maybe after 33 years, I was finally hearing the script clearly. That afternoon, my sister texted me. Lily never called unless there were witnesses. Mom's crying. Hope you're happy. I stared at the screen. Then another text came. You know this wedding wouldn't even happen without you. And there it was again. Not love, dependency dressed up like closeness. I didn't answer. 2 hours later, Noah came home from school holding a folded paper. Look, Mom! It was a family tree assignment. Stick figures everywhere. Grandparents, cousins, aunts. Then I noticed something strange. He'd drawn himself way off to the side, far from everybody else. Why are you over here? I asked gently. He shrugged. That's where Grandma puts us. I swear to God, that hurt worse than every bill combined. Kids map emotional geography perfectly, and my son already knew we were outsiders at my own family's table. That night, I made a decision. Not a loud one, not dramatic, the quiet kind that changes your whole life. I opened every shared account, every auto-pay, every subscription, every temporary family expense, and one by one, I started removing myself. No speeches, no warnings, just clicks. Wedding florist? Gone. Monthly transfer to Mom? Canceled. Lily's venue installment? Removed. My stepdad's truck insurance? Deleted. 11 years of financial oxygen cut off in 23 minutes. I expected panic. Instead, I felt light. Like I'd been carrying furniture upstairs for years without realizing I was allowed to put it down. But families like mine always notice when the money stops breathing. And 3 days later, they noticed. Big time. The first person to panic wasn't my mother. It was the wedding planner. Apparently, Lily's dream venue had tried running the second deposit twice, declined both times. By noon, my phone looked like a crime scene. Mom calling, Lily calling, unknown numbers, voicemails stacking up. I ignored every single one, while sitting in Noah's soccer practice eating gas station pretzels. Because for the first time in my adult life, their emergencies were not automatically mine. At 4:17 p.m., my mother finally texted something honest. What exactly are you trying to prove? That question sat on my screen while Noah chased a soccer ball under stadium lights. And I realized something. People only ask what you're trying to prove when your boundaries expose something ugly about them. I typed carefully. I'm trying to stop teaching my son that love has to be purchased. Read. No reply. 10 minutes later, Lily called again. This time, I answered. Silence for half a second, then immediate screaming. Are you seriously ruining my wedding over some stupid feelings? Interesting choice of words. Not misunderstanding, not family issue, feelings. As if humiliation only existed if they personally agreed with it. I'm not ruining your wedding, I said calmly. I'm just not financing it anymore. You promised. No, Mom promised using my bank account. That shut her up for exactly 3 seconds. Then came the real attack. You've always been jealous of me. I almost laughed. Families like ours survive on one daughter carrying guilt and the other carrying entitlement. I'm not jealous, Lily. Yes, you are. You hate that Mom actually likes me. And there it was. Finally, spoken out loud, not hidden in patterns anymore. My own sister admitting the hierarchy existed. I leaned back against the bleachers. Thank you for saying that. What? Now I know I'm not crazy. She hung up on me. I didn't call back. That weekend, my mother organized what she called a family dinner, which in toxic families means courtroom with casserole. I almost didn't go, but Noah looked up from his cereal and asked quietly, "Are we still part of the family?" And man, that question hit hard, because children will stand in burning houses if they think their mother still lives there emotionally. So I went. Not to fix things, to see clearly. My mother's dining room looked exactly the same as it did my whole childhood. Perfect plates, perfect candles, perfect performance. The moment we walked in, I felt the temperature shift. Nobody greeted Noah, again. Lily sat at the table already crying dramatically beside her fiancé Derek, who looked like a hostage negotiating his release. My stepfather avoided eye contact completely. Classic. My mother waited until everybody sat down before beginning. "You've deeply hurt this family," she announced immediately. No hello, straight to prosecution. I looked at Noah beside me, quietly eating bread. 8 years old, sitting through emotional warfare because adults never learned honesty. "I'm not trying to hurt anybody," I said. "You embarrassed Lily with vendors calling her non-stop. I removed payment methods attached to my name. You blindsided us." No, what blindsided them was accountability. Big difference. Lily suddenly slammed her napkin down. "You act like we used you." The entire table went silent, because everybody there knew. Everybody. Even Derek looked uncomfortable. I kept my voice level. "You introduced me as the family wallet in front of 40 people. It was a joke." Was it? Nobody answered. My mother crossed her arms. "You're being sensitive." There's that word abusive families love. Sensitive. Translation, inconveniently aware. Then Noah quietly spoke. "Why don't y'all like my mom?" Every adult froze. You could hear the air conditioner humming. My son looked around the table with these huge brown eyes waiting for someone to reassure him. Nobody did. And that silence told me more than any confession ever could. My mother finally forced a smile. "Sweetheart, of course we love your mom." Noah frowned. "Then why everybody only talks nice when she buys stuff?" Boom. Kids don't expose families loudly. They expose them simply. My mother's face hardened instantly. "You shouldn't even be part of this conversation." I looked at her slowly. "He's been part of the consequences for years. You always poison him against us." "No, y'all did that yourselves." Lily suddenly burst into tears. Real tears this time. "You're destroying everything." And maybe that was true, but some things deserve to collapse. Because if a building only stands while one person bleeds underneath it, that's not a home. That's a hostage situation. Then my mother made the mistake that ended us permanently. She looked at Noah directly and sighed. This family was easier before Savannah had responsibilities. Responsibilities. That's what she called my child. Not grandson, not Noah. Responsibility. My entire body went cold. Not explosive cold, dead cold. The kind where emotion leaves and decision arrives. I stood up calmly. "Come on, Daddy." Noah slid off his chair instantly. My mother looked shocked. "Oh, don't be dramatic." But I wasn't dramatic anymore. I was done. At the doorway, Noah turned around. "Grandma?" My mother softened immediately for him. "Yes, sweetheart?" "Mom says love ain't supposed to feel earned." Then he walked out holding my hand, while absolute silence swallowed that dining room whole. I cried in the car afterward. Not loud, just exhausted crying, like mourning somebody who's technically still alive. Noah fell asleep beside me holding his little soccer trophy, and somewhere around midnight, I realized I wasn't grieving my family. I was grieving the fantasy that if I loved them hard enough, they'd eventually love me back correctly. That fantasy died first. Everything else came after. 3 weeks later came the wedding disaster, and Lord, that's when karma clocked in full time. Apparently, once my money disappeared, so did half the wedding. The florist canceled, the violinist dropped out, the luxury venue demanded immediate payment. My mother tried covering things with credit cards already maxed out. Derek's family found out nobody had actually funded anything, and suddenly everybody started asking questions. Dangerous questions, like, wait, Savannah was paying for all this? Funny how fast people respect you once invoices become visible. Then came the final explosion. Derek called me personally. First time ever. "I need to ask you something honestly," he said, quietly. "Okay. Was Lily expecting you to keep paying after the wedding too?" I laughed before I could stop myself. Not mean laughter, just shocked laughter, because the answer was obviously yes. He went silent. Then he whispered, "Oh my God." "Yep, welcome to the family business model, buddy." The wedding got postponed 2 days later. Official reason, financial restructuring. Real reason, the ATM developed boundaries, and my mother completely lost control after that. She started calling relatives crying about betrayal, telling church friends I'd abandoned the family. But here's the problem with lies. They struggle surviving around receipts, because people started comparing stories, then comparing timelines, then comparing who actually paid for what all these years. And once the illusion cracked, it shattered fast. The final blow happened Thanksgiving. My mother still hosted dinner because narcissists would rather die than cancel a performance. Noah and I weren't invited. That part didn't even hurt anymore. What hurt was what happened next. Brooke, my teenage cousin, texted me a photo during dinner. The table looked smaller somehow, emptier. Then she sent one sentence: "Nobody's laughing this year." I stared at that message for a long time, and suddenly I understood something. I had mistaken financial usefulness for emotional belonging. Those aren't the same thing. Not even close. 6 months later, my stepfather showed up at my clinic unexpectedly, still wearing his old work jacket, still unable to fully meet my eyes. "I should have said something," he admitted quietly. I waited. "When your mom treated you different after Noah was born, I saw it." That hurt more because of how calm he sounded, like somebody finally confessing they watched the fire the whole time. She thinks Lily stayed loyal and you embarrassed her. Embarrassed her by surviving differently, by succeeding without permission, by becoming proof her control wasn't absolute. She loves you, he added weakly. I looked at him for a long moment. No, I said softly. She loves access to me. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty saying it. That's the thing nobody tells you about healing. It's not loud, it's quiet. It's your nervous system finally realizing peace isn't selfish. 6 months later, Noah and I moved into a lake house outside town. Nothing huge, just peaceful. The first night there, Noah sat on the dock eating marshmallows and asked, "Are we okay now?" I looked at the water, at the silence, at a life no longer built around emergency calls and guilt payments, and I finally answered honestly, "Yeah, buddy, I think we are." Then my phone buzzed. Mom. Again. I looked at it, then turned the phone face down beside me. No anger, no revenge, no speech, just quiet. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop answering the people who only call when they need pieces of you. Last month, Noah drew another family tree for school. This time, he drew us in the center. Big smiles, big house, big sun overhead, and off in the corner he drew a tiny phone with an X through it. Underneath he wrote, "My mom taught me real family feels safe." I cried reading that, not because I lost people, because my son won't spend 30 years begging for crumbs at tables that never planned to feed him. And honestly, that makes every missed call worth it.